Hallo und herzlich willkommen zu The Stanley Parable. Wir hatten ja schon die Demo gespielt und jetzt geht's los mit dem Hauptspiel und ich fange einfach mal an.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on the keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Okay, und da sind wir im Spiel. Stanley hat also all die Jahre seinen Job gemacht und auf einmal kriegt er keine Anweisung mehr und merkt auch, er wurde gar nicht gegrüßt. Was ist hier los? Und als er sich von seinem Schock erholt hat, ist er einfach aufgestanden. Wow. Aber bevor wir losgehen, muss ich kurz was machen. Ich muss kurz zu den hier und dann muss ich kurz hier so ein bisschen so, ich glaube so geht, so vielleicht. So, das muss kurz sein. Ja, so schon besser. Weil wenn ich mich so langsam drehe, das ist so nervig. So, wir haben hier alle möglichen Zettel. Ich werde mich hier auch schön genau umgucken und gucken, was wir hier so nehmen können, was wir machen können. Wie gesagt, ich habe das Spiel noch nie gespielt und bin total gespannt, was jetzt kommt. Aber ich denke mal, wir sollen jetzt erstmal aus unserem Büro raus, weil hier waren wir ja schon lang genug. Ja, deswegen gehen wir mal raus. Wir sind 4727, ja genau. 427 sind wir. Gucken, ob wir die Türen öffnen können. Nein, die Türen können wir nicht öffnen. Auch nicht in irgendwelche Kisten.
All of his co-workers were gone.
Ja.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ja, genau. Vielleicht sind ja alle irgendwo anders. Aber hier liegen auch Zettel auf dem Boden. Was ist hier los? Okay. Entschuldigt, ich muss noch mal ganz kurz was einstellen. Weil ich hatte bei den Fortgeschritten, genau hier war das. Da hatte ich... Wir machen das mal auf Mittel und das machen wir auch mal auf Mittel und das machen wir auch mal auf Mittel. So. Weil ich, und ich habe das Spiel zum Buggen gebracht, oder wie? Oh Mist. Nein, das Spiel ist abgestürzt. Okay, das sollte man vielleicht nicht während des Spiels machen. Ich starte mal das Spiel neu. Das ist jetzt... doof, aber was soll ich machen? Okay, bis gleich. So, ja, da bin ich wieder. Ich musste die Einstellungen quasi außerhalb des Spiels, also wenn wir noch nicht im Spiel drin sind, vornehmen. Wenn man das irgendwie im Spiel einstellt, dann stürzt es anscheinend ab. Und wir sollen uns ja auch nicht weiter stören. Wir machen einfach mal weiter. Tut mir leid für diese kleine Unterbrechung. So, jetzt geht es wirklich los.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Ja, die Kollegen sind alle verschwunden, alle sind futsch. Wir gehen mal zum Konferenzsaal. Vielleicht ist dort ja irgendwas. Aha, auch hier keine Mitarbeiter, kein einziger. Können wir hier irgendwo rein? Nein, auch nicht. Und hier?
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Entschuldigung, da musste ich jetzt gerade erstmal husten vor Lachen. Ja, es bringt die Story natürlich nicht voran, wenn wir hier alles antatschen da. Das stimmt auch wieder. Wir gehen jetzt einfach hier ein bisschen durch.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
So, da musste ich gerade kurz einen kleinen Cut machen, habt ihr gar nicht gemerkt. Aber mein Hund hat mal wieder die Tür aufgemacht. Wie immer. Oh Mann, jetzt bin ich doch in die linke. Ich wollte doch in die rechte gehen. Oh, so ein Mist, weil ich jetzt nicht nachgedacht habe. Ich hoffe, ich werde jetzt mal hier nicht ständig abgelenkt. Ich will das Spiel jetzt mal vernünftig spielen. Und vor allem mich konzentrieren. So, 412. Und na gut, ich werde mal nicht jede Tür jetzt aufmachen. Fast jede. Im Konferenzraum.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
How to solve a dispute with a coworker. Let it ball up inside you. Take it out. Hey, das wollte ich gucken. Wo ist denn der Beamer überhaupt? Using slides to assure employees that... Das ist zu schnell. Everyone is unique. You most of all. Jeder ist besonders. Du ganz besonders. Ja. Oder du vor allem. Was noch? Number of slides on this slide. Oh, schön. Okay. So, ich würde sagen, wir gehen mal trotzdem einfach weiter. Ich laufe wie besoffen hier gerade. Oh, man kann die Tür aufmachen. Oh mein Gott, damit hätte ich jetzt nicht gerechnet.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Ja, jetzt gerade eben haben wir ja das gemacht, was er gesagt hat. Vielleicht ist es auch ganz gut. Ich weiß es nicht. Ich weiß es noch nicht. Aber...
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow. Just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here.
Und dieses Spiel, das verleitet immer dazu, so bestimmte Dinge auszuprobieren. Zum Beispiel, was passiert, wenn man hier jetzt einfach mal drin stehen bleibt. Ob er dann noch irgendwas sagt. Wenn ich alles antatsche.
It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA.
Oh, ich liebe das. Oh, schön. Das ist so gut.
Are you really still in the broom closet? Standing around doing nothing? Why? Please offer me some explanation here. I'm genuinely confused.
Ich finde das so gut. Warte, ich will noch eine Antwort herausfordern. Mal gucken, ob...
You do realize there's no choice or anything in here, right? If I'd said Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out. It didn't occur to me because literally this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever. I never would have thought to mention it.
Ah, das ist so gut. Na gut, dann gehen wir mal, oder? Oder?
Maybe to you this is somehow its own branching path. Maybe when you go talk about this with your friends, you'll say, "Oh, did you get the broom closet ending? The broom closet ending was my favorite." I hope your friends find this concerning.
Oh my goodness, das ist so gut.
Stanley was fat and ugly and really, really stupid. He probably only got the job because of a family connection. That's how stupid he is. That or with drug money. Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Jetzt bist du aber beleidigend, du Stimme.
Well, I've come to a very definite conclusion about what's going on right now. You're dead. You got to this broom closet, explored it a bit, and were just about to leave because there's nothing here, when a physical malady of some sort shut down your central nervous system and you collapsed on the keyboard. Well, in a situation like this, the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure that your body is taken care of before it begins to decompose. Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby? The person at this computer is dead. He or she has fallen prey to any number of your countless human physiological vulnerabilities. it's indicative of the long-term sustainability of your species. Please remove their corpse from the area and instruct another human to take their place at the computer, making sure they understand basic first-person video game mechanics and filling them in on the history of narrative tropes in video gaming, so that the irony and insightful commentary of this game is not lost on them.
Alter.
All right, when you've done that, just step out into the hallway. Ah, second player, it's good to have you on board. I guarantee you can't do any worse than the person who came before you.
Oh mein Gott, das ist so gut. Ich frage mich, wie weit man das noch ziehen könnte. Wie lange der noch was sagen würde. Und ob der immer wieder was Unterschiedliches
Coming to a
sagt.
staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Nach oben. Okay, ich muss es tun. Es ist ein Muss. Ich weiß, was hier ist. Okay, hier ist irgendwie nichts außer ein paar Zettel. Und hier...
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground.
Was? Oh mein Gott. Oh mein Gott, wir
Then he
fliegen.
imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts.
Oh mein Gott.
And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay. Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am
mein Gott,
real.
das ist krass.
Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Was?
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Alter. Was war das? Was war das? Ach krass, war das ein Ende? War das schon ein Ende? Also, ich habe jetzt eben nicht gedacht, dass hinter uns die Türen zugehen. Ich dachte, wir können uns überall umgucken oder so, aber ja, wir müssten, also die Türen gehen hinter uns zu. Das heißt, es ist wie ein Durchlauf. Man muss es wie einen Durchlauf sehen. Je nachdem, welche Entscheidung wir treffen, werden unterschiedliche Dinge passieren, schätze ich. Okay. So, das war quasi der erste Durchlauf. Voll krass. Voll krass irgendwie. Und vor allem verstehe ich es noch nicht so ganz. Aber ich glaube, das soll so. Okay, dann geht's los.